Emily Garrick, and to do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will take this obligation freely and without mental reservation or for purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of a member of the Board of Education according to law and to the best of my ability. I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or this state by force or violence, and that during such time as I am in this position, I will not advocate nor become a member of any political party or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or this state by force or violence, so help me God. Our new members. At this time, we will conduct the organizational meeting of the North Platte Public District Board of Education for purposes of electing officers for the 23 school year. The current board president shall assume chairmanship of the meeting for the purpose of electing a board president. Ballots for president and other officers will be nominated verbally, and the votes will be cast on a secret ballot, and the total vote for the president in each office will be recorded by the board clerk. The president shall resume the chair immediately on the election of the president. I'm calling upon nominations for each office. Nominations will be by oral ballot. Voting will be by written ballot. At this time, I take nominations for the president of the Board of Education. I nominate Matt Peterson for president of the Board of Education for 2023.
Need a second. I'll second.
Joanne, second. Any others?
I would like to nominate Angela Blasey for president.
I second.
Any others? Okay, nominations are closed. Vote for one.
We have a tie.
Okay, this is from Board Policy 2002. In the event any officer cannot be elected by a majority after 10 votes, no votes occur after 10 motions fail for lack of a second, or no member volunteers to serve as an officer in a particular position. If the board is split between two members, the officer will be determined by coin flip. Pretty official.
Well, I knew we had a policy, so. I think Sheila does, doesn't it? 10 votes first. Yeah, just put it down. We need 10 votes first. Right. All right, once again, nominations are open for board president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blasey.
Second.
No others? All right, vote please.
We have a tie.
Once again, I'll open up nominations for president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
I'll second.
I nominate Angela Blasey.
I'll second.
Any others? Okay, vote, please.
We have a tie.
Once again, nominations for board president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blasey.
Second.
Any others? Please vote.
We have a tie.
Once again, we'll take nominations for board president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blasey.
Second.
Any others? Please vote.
We have a tie.
Once again, nominations are open for board president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blasey.
Second.
Any others? Please vote.
We have a tie.
Once again, nominations are open for board president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blazy.
Second.
Any others?
I have 3 for Matt Peterson, 2 for Angela Blazy, and 1 for Cindy O'Connor.
It's not a majority. Needs 4. Okay, open up nominations again for president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blazy.
Second.
Any others? Please vote.
I have a tie between Matt and Angela.
Okay. Nominations are again open for president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blazy.
Second.
Any others? Please vote.
I have another tie.
For the 10th time and last. Nominations for board president. I nominate Matt Peterson.
Second.
I nominate Angela Blazy.
Second.
Any others? Please vote. You're gonna. Oh, sorry.
We have a tie.
That was our 10th vote. So according to our policy, we will now have a flip of a coin. Sheila, would you come, please, since you are the clerk? No, that's fine. Just make sure it flips. Hold it. Pick it up, pick it up. All right. Bring your computer.
So now we will call for nominations for the office of Vice President of the Board of Education. I would like move to nominate Matt Peterson for Vice President.
I had second.
I nominate Joanne Lungreen.
I don't have any papers to vote with. Oh, I gave them all to Skip. Sorry. Oh, no, never mind.
I'd nominate Joanne Lundgren. Or a second, I guess. You already did.
Done with motions and seconds.
You?
We have a tie.
So at this time, we call for nominations for the office of Vice President of the Board of Education. We'll nominate Matt Peterson.
I'll second.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
I'll second.
We have 4 for Matt Peterson and 2 for Joanne Lundgren.
And at this time, we call for nominations for the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I'd nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I'll nominate Emily Garrick. Second.
We have a tie.
So again, we call for nominations for the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I'd nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
We have a tie.
Call for nominations for the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I'd nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
We have a tie.
At this time, we'll call for nominations for the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
Nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
We have a tie.
Call for nominations of the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
We have a tie.
Call for nominations for the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
Down to one.
We have a tie.
Call for nominations of the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
And we have a tie.
Call for nominations of the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
Seven. Eight.
I have a tie.
Call for nominations of the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
I nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
How many steps you got, Sheila?
I don't know.
Just kidding.
I have a tie.
Call for nominations of the office of Secretary of the Board of Education.
I nominate Joanne Lundgren.
Second.
Nominate Emily Garrick.
Second.
Oh, I'm sure. We have a tie. That was 10 times, I believe.
That was 10. Okay.
So
How do I call that?
I do have my. So the sign. The sign header.
What?
That is
Oh, Emily Garrett. Oh,
no,
that was you. Sorry. Joanne.
Joanne.
Sorry. So now can we get a motion to appoint Stuart Simpson as Executive Director of Finance, Utilities, Operations of North Platte Public Schools and the ex officio treasurer?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alton,
Aye.
Joanne Lundgren.
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Can I call for a motion to appoint Sheila Furley as the Board of Education clerk?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Skip Alton,
Aye.
Joanne Lundgren,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Can I call for a motion to appoint Stuart Simpson as the fiscal agent for the North Platte Public Schools?
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Roll call.
Joanne Lingreen,
Aye.
Angela Blazey,
Aye.
Emily Garrett,
aye.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Skip Alter.
Aye.
Oh, okay. Motion to appoint board member as the board liaison for the North Platte Public Schools Foundation.
I move to appoint Matt Peterson as the board liaison to the North Platte Public Schools Foundation.
Second,
Roll call.
Angela Blazey,
Aye.
Emily Garrett,
aye.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alter,
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen.
Aye.
Now, I still don't know how to do this one. Call for a motion again. Oh. But I didn't talk to anybody. I don't know what anybody wants to do. Thank you.
So it's for discussion.
Okay. So let's open up discussion on the subcommittees that you want to be on.
As much as I, brief as I give Stuart, I'm happy to stay on the finance subcommittee.
And I've been on the personnel committee for 7 years. I would like to switch over to finance to get the other perspective.
I would like to be on personnel.
The personnel committee?
Yep.
Okay.
I would like to be on personnel as well.
I would like to be on finance.
That's perfect because I wanted to be on personnel too. Okay. So can I get a motion to appoint?
I,
Skip- Oh,
do you want, if you want, I would move to appoint Skip Altig, Matt Peterson, and Cindy O'Connor to the Finance Facilities Operations and Legislation Board Subcommittee.
I second.
roll call.
Emily Garrett,
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alter,
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen.
Aye.
Angela Blazey.
Aye.
And I would like to move to, oh, can I do that for
Yeah.
myself? Okay, I'd like to move to appoint Joanne Lundgreen, Angela Blazey, and Emily Garrick to the Personnel, Americanism, Curriculum, Student Services, and Communication Board Subcommittee.
Second.
Roll call.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alter,
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen,
Aye.
Angela Blazey,
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Oh. Okay. Oh, okay. So just a reminder of the 2023 regular meeting dates are January 9th, February 13th, March 13th, April 10th, May 8th, June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, September 11th, October 9th, November 13th, and December 11th of 2023. Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, the next item on the board agenda is review and adopt board code of conduct. That is policy 2012. The board recognizes that collectively and individually, all members of the board must adhere to an accepted code of ethics in order to improve public education. Board members must conduct themselves professionally in a manner fitting of their position. Each board member shall, number one, attend all regularly scheduled board meetings insofar as possible and become informed concerning the issues to be considered at those meetings. Two, endeavor to make policy decisions only after full discussion at publicly held board meetings. Three, render all decisions based on the available facts in his or her independent judgment and refuse to surrender that judgment to individuals or special interest groups. 4, encourage the free expression of opinion by all board members and seek systematic communication between the board and students, staff, and all elements of the community. Number 5, work with other board members to establish effective board policies and to delegate authority to the superintendent to administer the school district. 6, communicate expressions of public reaction to the board policies and school program to other board members and the superintendent. 7, learn about current educational issues by individual study and through participation in seminars and programs, such as those sponsored by the state and national school board associations. 8, support the employment of those persons best qualified to serve as school staff and insist on a regular and impartial evaluation of all staff. 9, avoid being placed in a position of conflict of interest and refrain from using the board member's position on the board for personal or political gain. One of the hard copies that is in your packet is policy 2005. That is the district's conflict of interest policy, along with 3 different forms that are from the Nebraska Accountability and Disclosure Commission. So if there would be a situation arise, we would ask you to file with me a conflict of interest form. So that you want to keep these in a place where they're easily accessible. Otherwise, you can get one from Sheila or myself. 10, refrain from discussing the confidential business of the board in any setting except a board meeting. 11, refrain from micromanaging the affairs of the school district. 12, recognize the superintendent as the executive officer of the board. 13, work constructively and collegial with the other members of the board, students, staff, and patrons. 14, refer complaints to the superintendent or building principal as appropriate. 15, always be mindful of his/her fiduciary obligation to the school district, including duties of loyalty and care by placing the interests of the district above the board members' personal interests. And 16, remember that a board member's first and greatest concern must be the educational welfare of the students attending this district's schools.
Can I get a motion to re-adopt this policy?
I recommend to re-adopt board code of conduct policy 2012.
Second.
Roll call.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Altick,
Aye.
Joanne Lundgren.
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrett,
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Oh, we have our special presentation. My favorite part.
My honor to present to you the December Bulldogs and High School. We have Toby Miller and Mr. Bravo. I'd like Toby up to do their introductions first, and then Mr. Bravo.
Now they're gonna want pictures, yeah.
Sure. I don't think I need it.
Pretty pretty.
I don't think it's bad. I'm a little big for that.
Yep. So
There, there.
now we have the foundation report, Tina. Is it green? Okay.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith, could we have Dr. E and maybe Lori say some words, or maybe Mr. Ayers say some words about our December staff members of the month?
Well. Oh.
Superintendent report, right? Oh, you have more. Never mind. I lied.
No.
From the foundation. Thank the sponsors for this, and that was very expensive flowers and Stewart and. That's on February 24th, and starting tonight at 7 p.m. They will start now. So. For that, go on sale for 16, adults will be $12 and kids will be $10. So, the funds for the dancing will start over. Now superintendent.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I would just, our Bulldogs of the Month and your families, you certainly are not required to stay for the rest of the evening. We understand if you would like to head on out. Thank you. Yeah, just a few items. First of all, we're extremely excited as a school district to bring our kids and our teachers back for 2023. We brought kids and students back last Thursday. And so we're a full go already, and we're going to make 2023 the best year ever. So we're really excited about that. Just a few mid-year updates. Mid-year review meetings have been held with our building principals, and mid-year review meetings are in progress right now with our directors at the central office level, nearly complete with those as well. The cabinet has been working on mid-year updates and progress reports for our strategic plan. We will be bringing that to the subcommittees in February. You're going to see that probably look a little different. If you remember the document that we have in place, first of all, we have 8 goals in our strategic plan. It's a fairly lengthy document. The other piece of it, we have a working document where we've added our progress each year for the past 3 years. We're in year 4 right now. So we're moving that to a different template. So it's a little bit easier to look at, to understand, and be able to digest. So you can look forward to that in February. But currently our cabinet members have been adding their pieces to the strategic plan and those specific goals and strategies and the progress that we've made this year. Something else that is new this year, we just started today, in fact, myself, along with our teaching and learning coordinators, Mrs. Douglas and Mrs. Carlson, are having building level meetings with our building principals, and we're kind of doing a mid-year progress report meeting as it relates to our tier 1 goals and that data that is our map reading and our map math. And we're just trying to do kind of a deep dive in terms of the interventions that are in place and kind of evaluating where we're at and the supports as well. So that's something that is new for this year that we've just started. And then the last thing I would just mention to the group is that the ESU 15 and ESU 16 board workshop is the evening of January 25th. It's at North Platte High School, and that's from 5 to 9. If you would like us to register you, please let Sheila or myself know, and we will get you registered. Thank you.
What was the date of that again?
That is January 25th,
It's a Wednesday.
5 o'clock.
Do we have any board comment?
I just wanted to give a shout out. Lori left, but to the custodial and maintenance team for with all of the snow, it's always a big job for them to keep the sidewalks and everything clean, and really appreciate all that goes into that.
I wanted to share, it feels like an eternity ago, but December 19th, I attended the Adams Middle School, the band orchestra vocal concerts. And it was a long concert, and I took my 3-year-old who was in this audience earlier. So you all can imagine how that went for us. But he was actually really engaged, and I was really, really impressed by the talent at that level and the dedication that those kids obviously had put into practicing those skills. And for those of you who didn't go, it was really neat to see the orchestra performance by one of our high school students, Sage. And I was seriously impressed. I was like, I would not be able to get up there and lead a group of 7th graders to play string instruments. So kudos to her. And then I had a great meeting with Dr. Rhodes here a couple of weeks ago, just kind of talking about how it's going, transitioning into North Platte schools and, you know, the morale of the schools and that kind of thing. And that was a great conversation. And overall, I've heard really positive things. And I would just like to mention, this was not on my original notes, but as a board, I think we should probably revisit our policy of how we handle the 10 votes and coin flip situation. So
I second that motion.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Too short in December.
Now it's time for the consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliament procedure, Robert's rules, provide for the consent agenda listing several items of approval of the board by a single motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board subcommittees review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items have been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member.
I would motion to remove items 7 through 13. And if possible, I would like to discuss those tonight.
Contracts.
8.7 through 8.13?
Yes, 18.7 through 18.13.
So I think we probably just need to move those to the action item section, and then we can have discussion on them during the action items. I think that would probably be the best procedurally thing to do.
I think you'd probably need a motion to bring those out of consent agenda and then a second, then vote on the movement of those items out. And then you can vote on the remaining consent agenda.
So do you want to make that motion?
I would motion to remove items 18.7 through 18.13 from the consent agenda.
I second.
Roll call?
Nay.
Nay.
Aye.
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 Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
I would move to approve the consent agenda as amended with the items that were removed.
I second.
We'll call Sheila.
Um,
Oh, no.
the only thing I wanted to make a point of is, Angela and, Joanne reviewed the claims this month, and at this point in time, everything was clean. I tried to compete with Joanne or Janelle, but you know, once in a while I fall down on the job here, so.
Aye.
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 But now do we discuss it? No. But that's it, isn't it? Oh.
You want a discussion on some of those or each one?
I think the lump sum is appropriate. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's hold a discussion on the consent agenda items that were removed 18.7 through 18.13.
Okay, I'll start that discussion because obviously I had questions. So I am not against voting for those.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay,
Perfect.
go ahead, Emily.
Okay, thank you. So I did not remove those to cause any issues or because I am against those contracts. I just, as a new board member, know that discussions on those have been going on for several months. And now as our first board meeting voting to accept those contracts, I just wanted to have the opportunity to have a little bit of discussion. So I guess my first question on that would be, do we feel as a board and as a district that we have exhausted all of our other options when it comes to staffing teachers that I guess would justify us taking that step into hiring teachers from another country?
Can we ask Kevin?
Okay.
Kevin, would you mind joining us at the microphone?
Not really.
Well, let's
Emily,
explore it. No.
before he starts, I will answer that. I would
Okay.
say yes.
Okay.
We had some positions we did not even fill this year, right, Mr. Mills? We had some positions we did not fill at the start of the year. At the start of the year? Okay.
Okay,
However, we've been discussing this since the summer.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, the company that we are going through, and he can explain that better than I, but we've gone through and the principals has helped with all of these interviews and so forth. You know, it's just like, to me, hiring, whether the person graduated from Kearney or Shadron or UNL, you know, we do not, you know, that's an administrative prerogative.
Absolutely. I just think it's something worth having conversation that the public sees, because I obviously wasn't part of those committee conversations. And so I wanted to make sure before I voted for it, I needed to kind of clarify and feel comfortable with that. You know, as a board member and as a former teacher, I know that staffing is that's probably one of our biggest issues right now. So I am 100% on board with that. You know, I think that this could probably be a good short-term solution. I just would really like to see us looking into maybe other options moving forward so that we don't view this as a long-term solution for staffing. Because I would love to see us hiring people that, you know, have some hometown roots and are gonna stay and invest in our community and are gonna be here for the long haul. And I know that's not a perfect situation, but I guess that was just my only concern with that. So
Kevin, can you remind us the length of time that these teachers are expected to be here? And then also, what would happen if for some reason they don't work out?
Correct. Thanks, Joanne. Number one, the contract is for 3 years with the possible extension of 5. The possibility of anybody not working out is the same with any teacher, that we would have to do a cancellation of contract, go through those steps, take them to the board. So it's a teacher is a teacher, no matter where they're from, we would go through the same steps if things didn't work out for whatever reason, if there was a issue. The big part of this, I appreciate your comments. As a district, we started on this because teacher shortage has been going on for a couple of years. So knowing what we had last year, yes, Skip, we filled them all, but we did not have near the applications that we normally have. For elementary, many times we have 15, 20 different applications. We are getting 1 or 2. So we took this action as preventative to think ahead, knowing that this teacher shortage is not going away anytime soon. Obviously, we could take the chance and risk and wait and see if we get applications. We'll continue to recruit and keep positions open. I'm going to UNK this month and then Hastings in February. So we got some recruiting things going on, taking a couple of other administrators. So we'll continue to recruit locally. And I think we all understand now, for any individual, as someone stated, there has to be some connection to the community to stay. That's why we have a 30% turnover, because individuals do not have that connection to the community, whatever it may be. They might get a couple of years of experience, then move back to the metro. So that's a big piece that we focus on. And we know that that cannot be for everybody, that everybody enjoys this certain type of Western Nebraska living. But we know if they have a commitment that they'll stay. But that percentage is pretty much the same since I've been here of what we're hiring each and every year. This year, we're starting off a little bit lower, which we're very, very happy about that. But I'm sure there's more to come as I discuss with principals, others that are probably going to resign.
So you said these contracts are 3-year
Yes, ma'am.
contracts, but we're only voting.
We'll do them yearly.
Okay.
Yeah, but with the agency, it's a 3-year contract that we have these staff with the possibility of going to 5.
So they can't pull out, not that.
Right.
Okay.
that was gonna be my question too. I was curious if that 3-year contract was pretty standard with that type of an arrangement. Is there any possible outcome of these situations where they come to our community and they love it here and they stay beyond?
Sure.
I mean, is there an opportunity if they want to stay beyond the 3 and then the 5 years?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Become a citizen and go
Okay.
through all the steps. Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
awesome.
You also.
You also remind us, the qualifications, teaching experience, education, those kind of things.
Absolutely. All of these individuals, and when I say all of them, we had, probably 32 applications. So we only picked, and it was hard to pick. So everyone has experience. Everyone has a bachelor's degree minimum. The ones that we selected all have master's degrees with 5 years or more experience. Some of them up to 25 years of experience.
Kevin, could you tell us who sat in on the interviews besides yourself?
I would have to go back. Principals, yeah.
Principals
Yeah.
for like elementary,
Elementary,
principals, middle school.
Elementary, middle, high, all levels. Yeah. Yes, sir.
And now what?
Is there any more discussion?
Okay, is there any more discussion? No? So we'll move to reports. To an action item, okay. Okay. So reports. Tina.
Yeah.
Looks great.
So Tina, you said, I think in the past, I think we maybe mailed these out to everyone. I think we changed that at some point, potentially because it wasn't very cost effective.
No, it looks very good. Thank you.
Staffing update. Mr. Mills?
Good evening, President Blazy, Superintendent Roads and Board of Education. Pleasure to be here this evening. If you'll remember, the board approved Dean of Students last month, and we made that go live the next day. We've set up interviews. We're halfway through our interviews. We'll have the interviews finished by tomorrow. So we'll have some decisions to work with next week with Dean of Students. So I want to give the board a update on that. Is there any questions about that topic?
Are
Good.
they all in-house or?
All internal. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We made that decision to go completely internal. Yep.
When will you have a decision? on that?
This week, we should know where
So
we're
we'll
at.
know if we are able to fill their current position.
Correct. That's the other piece we're working on to see what that individual's teaching or what their position is. And then do we have a replacement for that? And that's where some of the international comes into place too. That helps us with that aspect as well. I forgot to mention that earlier, Emily. That's another piece of the international. Question, we're good on Dean? Okay. The other piece we're looking for right now, we have 3 elementary positions open and 3 secondary that we're focusing on and setting up interviews as we go. I set up a couple today. And then we had a couple past week. We did hire Friday K through 6 ELL individuals. So we're very excited about that, knowing that this community is going to grow in that aspect. We were very fortunate to local gal accepted that job. So we're very excited about that. So the other 6 we're working on now, obviously have everything advertised, and then as alluded to, be hitting a couple career fairs coming up here shortly. Really excited about the Hastings ones because that's kind of a personal invite one. It's a small group of us that are going to that, and the students already know exactly what jobs that they want to talk to. So that's a late afternoon, 4 to 7 o'clock in Hastings in February. So we'll continue that. Everything's advertised on our website, and Tina always does a nice job with advertising all our positions with Facebook and Twitter and what have you. The other piece that, just a reminder, we did hire the secondary music individual, Danielle, who started on Thursday. So we checked in with her to make sure everything's going good with her, the second semester start, and then also over at Ike with the second semester start as well. So 2 of those starting at second semester. Very excited about that. Questions for staffing HR? Anything I missed?
Keep it up.
All right.
Doing the work. Yes.
Thank you. Monthly financial and budget report, Stuart.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna wait for Sheila to bring it up so everybody can follow along. And you can pull this up obviously on your laptops, but we're first going to go to page 4, which sort of summarizes overall budget that the board adopted back in September. In that, you can see it broken down by the various funds that we oversee. We should be at each individual fund, or in theory, 33.3%. And why I say that is I'll talk a little bit more in regards to Lake Maloney bond. Obviously, that one's completed now at the end of December. Now we're just monitoring the property taxes that are now coming into that were levied a year ago and now are just, finalizing in the process. I will mention, but I want to talk about this later on the QC Puff, but we'll get to that point at this point in time. Sheila, if you'd go to page 7, then. This is our monthly cash flow, which looks at the change in revenue or expense for the district on each individual month. And this month, obviously, number one, it looks like we're dipping down further than we normally do, or following the trend that we can see over the previous 4 years. I want to point out, number one, is that we're still struggling to get the ESSA or Title I and the IDEA grant completed and submitted. I believe, and I've talked to Dr. Rhodes multiple times, I think NDE is really going through a really harder process in regards to these grants, because they have been probably been reviewed by the feds, and they want to ensure that all their T's are crossed and I's dotted in the process. So they've re-clarified some stuff and sending it back to us. So hopefully in the process, those will be completed. We can turn around and start submitting those grants. Second of all, we have a myriad of expenses that we went through last year, obviously with staffing salaries and related benefits accordingly. And then we're seeing some increases in supplies and equipment across the district that have increased in comparison to the previous year. But in that, I need to remind the board that when we set our property taxes in September, those don't take effect until January. So we're still living off of a year ago tax requests. We're going to start seeing the additional money coming in, because I just want to remind you, we had a 7% increase in valuations. So now that's going to come in starting in January, and we'll get the biggest lump, as we can see on the chart, in May and then in August is the two biggest months that will come in. So those will then bring us back out in the process, but I'll be monitoring that over the course of the next 4 months because we know January, February, and March are our biggest reserve usages. And then in the process, we'll see how that goes. And I'll keep number one, the finance committee informed as we move forward, as well as in the board as we talk about it at every board meeting. And then finally, I did mention that about the QC Puff Fund. And so if Sheila, if you could go to page 13. I always like to highlight a separate fund each and every month because we do operate various funds for certain projects. The QC Puff Fund was to pay for the bonds that we did at, and I'm going to take a little bit, Washington, Buffalo, Cody, and then Lincoln the next year. And so we're now currently paying those off. Just a reminder, and we'll talk more at the Finance Committee, but these bonds will be paid off in 2025. And so we pay for these bonds in December. So the collection for the property taxes comes in from January through December, and then the bonds are paid accordingly in December. So we do, as you can see, have the reserves established so that we will make those payments for the bonds each and every year that we have them. So those are my highlighted points of the financial statement. Questions?
Thank you. Okay, legislative update, Stuart and Skip.
I'll go first, and a couple of things that I want to point out. Number one, obviously we were on our on TV watching the legislature the first day, which was last Wednesday, and who was going to be obviously education chair, as well as what the committee was going to be made up of. And first of all, in the education committee for the 23 legislative year is Senator Merman is the chair. Linehan, Walls, and Sanders were on the committee last year, and they are now continuing on. And then Senator Conrad, Wayne, Breezy, and Albrecht were the new members that are coming on the Education Committee. And I do want to point out, it's nice to see that Senator Walls was replaced on the Education Committee because she ran against Senator Merman. And normally when somebody runs against somebody, they don't really receive that appointment to be back on the committee. And I think that lends, number one, a consistency on the Education Committee and that bank of knowledge that Senator Walls has, who's served on the Education Committee at least, I believe, the last 4 years. So in that, she's, gives us a sense that, they have a good balance of knowledge in that committee. There's 205 bills out there, and those will be discussed here after 10 days. We're just watching all the bills coming in and what's going to go on. And then finally, I did want to point out, since we're part of GNSA, our group, as well as a group of other organizations, met with the governor-elect at that point in time, but Governor Pillen, to discuss the school funding formula, TIOSA, and possible changes in that. And one was setting the per pupil funding at $1,500 per pupil. That's out there, but I will say this, obviously, number one, we're going to see the bill come in, and then we're going to see how that progresses through, number one, the Education Committee, and then bring it to the floor for further discussions. With that, I'll turn it over to Skip.
We had our first. We had our first legislative committee meeting today. We will meet every Monday at 10 o'clock via Zoom. So I don't have to drive to Lincoln every Monday via Zoom. And there were only 8 bills as of Friday that had been introduced that are really education related. We discussed those not in great detail, but what they were. They are interested to see what other bills in the next several days as Stuart said, you have up to 10 days to introduce the bills. And then we'll see where we are. We will go into great detail in discussing them when the NSAB legislative conference is held here, I think in 10 days or so, or two weeks from today, really, and yesterday. We will be meeting at 11 o'clock Sunday and then through the afternoon to go through all the bills and discuss them, how they would affect. So next month I'll have a lot more in depth. But the main thing that most people were very happy with was what you talked about, Senator Walls getting back on the Education Committee. Because generally, if you are running for that and you get beaten in the committee chair, you don't get thrown on the committee. So, and she's a former teacher from Fremont, so that will work very well for us. But we'll know a lot more actually in the next 6 days. Thanks.
All right, each and every year at the board reorganization committee or meeting, we're required to identify all the financial institutions in the community that would basically lend support for the district. Second of all, we do have one main bank, but depending upon, certain items that may happen, we always have at least a backup at this point in time. So we just go through and identify all the financial institutions in the district just to cover all of our items.
I would move.
Second.
Any discussion? No, can we take roll?
Emily Garrett,
I really loudly.
Mine's still active, still going right
you can
now.
hear Stuart without it. So I'm sorry.
I'm getting used to
Cindy
the new
O'Connor
order.
right over here.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alted,
Aye.
Joanne Lindgreen,
Aye.
Angela Blaze.
Aye.
Okay, designation of the KSB law as legal counsel for the district.
So these next four items are annual requirements per board policy, and then also the last two are requirements by the federal government. So this first one, as you know, we have had a relationship with KSB law for the last several years. The district, a little over a year ago, 2 years ago, had made the decision to go with KSB law for policy service. And so what we're asking from the board tonight is that you consider designating our legal counsel as KSB law for 2020.
I would move to designate KSB law as legal counsel for North Platte Public Schools for 2023.
Second.
Is there a reason, just because I don't know, that we picked them over the last place?
Predates me. So
Yeah.
I can't make that.
Past you, sorry.
What happened was at the various conferences that we had attended in the last 6 or 7 years, I think it was 2 years ago, we went
Right.
with KSB.
Correct.
They seem to be the most aggressive. And what I mean by that is not as far as an attorney aggressive, which they are, but more up to date on what was happening in the schools. And when you attend their sessions, you learn a lot in a very short period of time. And we discussed it at the time and decided that the one that we had been going with, which also was from Lincoln, that we thought they served our needs best. And I would agree with that, especially with some of the issues that we have had in the last 3 years, 2 years, that where we've needed their services.
Roll call, or does anybody else have one? Something to say? Roll call.
Cindy O'Connor,
Aye.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Altick,
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Okay, and designate the North Platte Telegraph as the official district newspaper of record.
So another annual requirement is that as a district, we designate a newspaper in general circulation to be the district newspaper of record. We are recommending this evening that the board consider designating the North Platte Telegraph.
I would move to designate the North Platte Telegraph as the official district newspaper of record.
Is there, why are we just doing one paper? Is it just because? I don't know.
Well, I think any time that you're going to publish something, there's cost involved. So most districts choose one of their newspapers that's in their general circulation for that.
I know the county splits it between the two local papers, so I didn't know if that's something that we've ever considered. I guess I'm kind of looking at-
That predates me.
As far as, since I've been on the board, it's always been the Telegraph as far as what we have used.
I might be mistaken, but I think the county did designate the Telegraph as the official paper this year. I think they did that at one of their recent meetings. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Let's take roll, Sheila.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Altick,
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye. Okay. Point non-discrimination compliance coordinator.
Yeah, per policy 3053, which is our non-discrimination policy, we're required by federal law to appoint a non-discrimination compliance coordinator. We are recommending that the board consider appointing Mr. Kevin Mills, HR Director, as the district's non-discrimination compliance coordinator.
I'd like to move that we appoint Mr. Kevin Mills as the non-discrimination compliance coordinator for North Platte Public Schools.
I'll second.
Roll. Skip Altick,
Aye.
Joanne Lynn Green,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
And the Title IX complaint.
Okay, federal law, Title IX requires us to not only appoint the coordinators, but there's pretty stringent policy in place that is 2006 as well, that requires a lot of training of a lot of different people in our district. Actually, all of our folks at some point need to be trained in Title IX. We do it. We're a little bit bigger district, so we are asking you to consider actually 2 folks for Title IX coordinators. One deals specifically with employee complaints, and we're asking you to consider Mr. Kevin Mills. The other would be student complaints, and in terms of that Title IX coordinator, we'd ask that you consider Mrs. Brandy Busher.
I would move that we appoint Mr. Kevin Mills as the Title IX coordinator for employee affairs and Mrs. Brandy Busher as the Title IX coordinator for student affairs.
Second.
Any discussion? Can we get roll?
Joanne Lynn Green,
Aye.
Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Skip Altick.
Aye. future board.
Can I get a motion for the items 18.7 through 18.13 that were removed from the consent agenda?
I would motion to approve items 18.7 to 18.13.
Second.
Roll. Angela Blazy,
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Altuve.
Aye.
And Joanne Lingreen.
Aye.
Okay, for the future board calendar, we have the legislative issues conference, January 22nd through the 23rd in Lincoln. The ESU 16 board workshop, the 25th at 5 to 9. President's retreat, 2023 is in January 29th to 30th in York and February 5th and 6th in Ogallala. And is that the one, Skip, that you said you don't have to be the president to go to that?
Correct.
For all board members. And yeah, listen. Budget and finance workshops are February 8th in Kearney and February 15th in La Vista. And then excuse me, school leaders and law conference is June 14th and 15th in Kearney. The area membership meeting in North Platte will be August 29th, and the Labor's Relations Conference, October 4th and 5th. And then the State Education Conference is November 15th and 7th through the 17th in Omaha. We have to have a motion to go into executive session.
I move pursuant to section 84-1410 of the reissue of the revised statutes of 1992, known as the Nebraska Public Meetings Law, that the board hold a closed session with Stuart Simpson for the purpose of discussion of personnel matters. I further move that this closed session is clear and necessary for the protection of the public interest and for the prevention of needless injury to the reputation of individuals, and that strategy sessions with respect to personnel matters, real estate litigation, and collective bargaining are specifically authorized by Nebraska Public Meetings Law.
Second.
Roll. Emily Garrett.
Aye.
Cindy O'Connor.
Aye.
Matthew Peterson.
Aye.
Skip Altuve.
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen.
Aye.
Angela Blazy.
Aye.
We'll be meeting in 1:00.
Get a motion to come out of executive session at 7:42.
I move that we come out of executive session at 7:42.
Roll.
Cindy O'Connor. Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alpin,
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen, Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Emily Garrett.
Motion to dismiss, adjourn. Sorry. I
I
can't,
would move to adjourn at 7:44.
can I get a second? Roll.
Matthew Peterson,
Aye.
Skip Alpin,
Aye.
Joanne Lingreen, Angela Blazy.
Aye.
Emily Garrett. Cindy O'Connor.
We're done.